the Ultimate Warrior, and talk about polarizing figure depending on seems like who you talk to. People love him, people hate him.
Yeah,
there doesn't seem to be an in between. So wanted to ask what your experience was like working with Warrior.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, you get people who say they didn't like him, and there are a lot of reasons that were valid for that. But I think that you have to look deeper into Jim Hellwig to really understand him. I got to spend a lot of time with Warrior because we would do a lot of appearances together where we'd go at these fan fests and stuff like that and sign autographs for kids and that kind of thing. And he was all those things as far as what pissed the boys off. He was not a disciplined wrestler. He wasn't really well trained in that sense. I mean, they used to, if you know the business, we'd always say it was like butter. I'm sure you've heard that, Jack, where it's smooth. It's like when you shake a wrestler's hand back in the day, they would barely grip it. That's how you tell, it's like butter. And he came in, he was a frickin' wrecking ball. And because of the push he was getting, they cut him a lot of slack, the management side of it. Well, when you're in there working and you're feeding a family, you don't want to be in there with some guy who's going to hurt you and put you out of work for a few weeks. So when he would do something like that, one of his stiff clotheslines or miss a spot where he was supposed to be, or an elbow isn't where it's supposed to hit, that pisses a lot of people off. And it kept going on and on. And there was he got a few shots in the ring and backstage to straighten him out. I know Andre the Giant did a pretty damn good job at doing that, but at the same time, you had that, and then there is an envy factor in this, that this guy came in, hadn't, as far as most of the guys were concerned, had not paid his dues by any stretch of the imagination, is getting this tremendous push because he's supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan. And he just zooms to the top of the line. Well, that's going to create resentment. Add to that you didn't come from the business. You don't really understand how it works. You didn't really have to pay the dues on the road like other guys had. Now, of course, when he was there, he had to travel in the same way. But he would be at the arenas and these shows and not interact with the guys. He'd be off somewhere else or have a corner somewhere. He would set it, wouldn't be in the locker room with everybody. And that's not good either. You're separating yourself. These guys were out, and most of the business, you never saw them, at TVs every 3 weeks, but the rest of the time they're at these shows across the country. And at the same time, then he's getting advice from people that probably didn't give him the best advice that he, as far as the business goes, because they didn't get it. They were looking at it from an entertainment point of view and how much you're worth, and they're getting this and you should be getting more. Not a good recipe. On the other side of that, he was a guy who was just bombarded. It was the fire hose of fame and everything else that went with it. Imagine trying to take that all in. And it was, the WWE at the time was massive. It was gigantic. And all he had to do, they play that music, sprint down to the ring, jump on the apron, shake the ropes, and you brought the house down. Well, that's pretty heady. Go in and give a bad clothesline, finish it up, and you're done for the night. The guys out there, they're doing 12 minutes, right? So, but I had a lot of conversations with him. He was a very intelligent guy, deep, talked about things. We'd be at some events where he would, we had great conversations, great sense of humor, funny. I'd see him on a knee talking to a kid for 20 minutes. Then the next day we're doing something. I don't know what it was, what he was putting into his body, whatever. He wouldn't say 3 words, wouldn't look up from signing stuff. So you never knew what you're really going to get. And so that it's a very complicated person. And that's why to this day, you still have that people, I've done these shows and 90% of the guys are just talking about how they couldn't stand working with a guy. So it was very complicated, but he was, I just think there was a lot of factors involved. And I certainly can't really be in that camp of saying I thought he was terrible. And, I have a little more understanding of what it must have been like for him.